Colorado man is trapped in a Kafka-esque nightmare as every time he leaves the house he risks getting arrested for a crime he did not commit. This is the big problem with surveillance that is monitored by AI, and it's about to get a lot worse. Because now we can use Wi-Fi to identify individuals using biometric data, and the technology is not perfect, and once you are in the system, you can't get out. This is because of the nature of how these systems work. For a long time, yes, there have been cameras everywhere, but they do not communicate with each other and they are operated by disconnected systems. Companies like Flock are trying to change that by installing cameras everywhere, and maybe they can eliminate crime, no, probably not. Because AI systems can identify individuals pretty well anyway. In the case of our friend from Colorado, his license plate was very similar to someone who did have a warrant out for their arrest, and unfortunately, he ended up in the system and now he cannot get out. Once you are in the system, it may be impossible to fully remove you from it, and unfortunately because of the use of AI, which is prone to hallucinations, 30 to 60% at some point, people are being added to the system when they absolutely do not belong there. This is part of a much more troubling trend that is surveillance, and I've never really paid that much attention to it, but it might be time to start paying attention to it. Especially with the application of new technology like identifying people by biometric data. Now, this has been done for at least a decade. The technology has existed, but it has not been widely applied, and the advent of AI makes it much more effective. Radio signals are constantly moving around us, and we interrupt them. They can also be used to measure us, our breathing patterns, our heart rate, and our identities. Even something like your gait can identify an individual, and these are being identified by AI systems. Think about millions of people passing by cameras, and every once in a while it gets a little ping. It might be a hallucination, it may actually be looking for you, and then it can inform local law enforcement to come find you. Given enough of those pings, if say you look like a suspicious individual, the system can learn that you are in fact suspicious, and then you can end up in a problem like our friend from Colorado. And of course, these systems have also been misused by certain people that have access to these systems. So yes, it is a very scary prospect. Should you personally be concerned about it? And I don't say this a lot, but yes, you should be concerned. The idea is that if you are watching everyone all the time, surely they will behave well and not break the law. That is the concept of a panopticon. Unfortunately, there's not a lot that any individual can do about this kind of thing. We can protest or, you can make yourself difficult to observe. Making yourself difficult to observe, of course, could arouse suspicion all on its own. I may actually be wrong about this being Kafka-esque. It may actually be straight Orwell. Although one of the things that we are concerned about at this point is if you look like someone who might have committed a crime. Us humans do not have a very good handle on what AI does. It's kind of a black box, especially since we now have AI that is rewriting itself. If you can be arrested because you look like somebody else who might have committed a crime in a state that you have not been to, yes, that is a fairly large problem. Because we are now trusting AI to be an eyewitness, and there really is not a whole lot of precedent for how we are going to handle these cases now, but I think in the very near future, there's going to be a lot of lawsuits, so we'll see it shake out. However, a lot of people are going to suffer in the meantime, and there's no guarantee it all just won't get worse. I'm a little bit sore about this entire issue, aside from, being an invasion of privacy, because I had a little miniature version of it. I missed a flight when the cloud went down, and they tried to put me on another flight. My baggage left without me, and it was going to be a 19-hour layover. I could not cancel my flight, so I just drove to my destination and showed up the next day to pick up my luggage. However, that was a problem. I tried very hard to resolve this issue, but to this day, I still cannot get on a flight without getting extra security screening. It's either that or I am just really suspicious. But imagine flying 7 times, so 14 trips in a year, and getting extra security every single time. Anyway, imagine that, but on steroids. I am not wild about surveillance. I do not like to be perceived. So what do you think? Is this technology going to result in a safer world? Because I have my doubts.